Jason Reed was a simple man. He wasn't a soldier, a scientist, or a hero. Just a mechanic working on Station Delta 9, a cold metal city floating in deep space. His job? Fix broken doors, clean air vents, and keep machines running. No one noticed him, and he liked it that way. The station had rules. One rule was clear: never touch the red tag crates. They were for research teams only. Dangerous stuff inside. Alien tech, unknown creatures, or worse. But that day something felt different. Jason was walking through Cargo Bay 7 when he saw it. A large silver crate, marked with a red biohazard symbol. It wasn't locked, just sealed with a glowing blue strip. He paused, looked around. No cameras, no one in sight. He stepped closer. There was a low humming sound coming from the crate, almost like breathing. Jason knew he shouldn't open it, but curiosity got the better of him. Just a peek, he whispered. He pulled out his multi-tool and carefully broke the seal. The blue light faded. The crate let out a small hiss as the lid lifted. And then, light. A bright, blinding light burst, out hitting him in the face. Jason stumbled back, covering his eyes. When his vision cleared, he looked inside. His breath caught. There, lying inside the crate, was a girl. But not a normal girl. She looked young, maybe 19 or 20. Her skin was pale, with glowing silver tattoos running across her arms and neck. She had long white hair, wolf-like ears on top of her head, and a thick fluffy tail curled around her legs. She wore a strange armored suit, ripped and stained with blood. Her chest rose and fell slowly. She was breathing. Jason's heart pounded. What is this? Who is she? He reached out, gently touched her arm. Her skin was ice cold. Suddenly, her eyes opened. They were bright yellow, like fire, like a predator's. She stared at him, then she sniffed the air and growled. Jason froze. She sat, up slowly, eyes locked on his. Her sharp teeth showed as she bared them in a low snarl. But then, her expression changed. She leaned forward, sniffed him again. Then she spoke. Just one word. Mine. Jason blinked. What? Before he could react, the lights in the bay flickered. A red alarm light flashed near the wall. Security alert. Movement detected in Cargo Bay 7. Jason panicked. He looked down at the girl, no, the creature, and then at the crate. I'm gonna get fired, he muttered, but something inside him said run. He grabbed a nearby blanket from a supply cart and threw it over the girl. Come on, he whispered. You need to stay quiet. She didn't speak again. She just followed, silent and watchful, eyes glowing in the dark. Jason led her through maintenance tunnels, past sleeping quarters, and into his private repair bay. It was small, just a cot, a tool bench, and some spare parts, but it was safe. He closed the door and locked it. His hands were shaking. What did I just do? He whispered. He turned to face her. She was sitting on the floor looking around. With calm curiosity, her tail swayed behind her. Jason crouched down. Listen, I don't know what you are or why you called me mine, but she looked up sharply. Bonded. His eyes widened. Bonded? She pointed to her nose. Smell, touch, scent. You opened, you touched. You are mine now. Jason stood, up, backing away slowly. No, that's not how this works. I'm not part of any alien werewolf marriage thing. She tilted her head. Mate. He nearly fell over, but before he could ask anything else, the wall intercom buzzed. Attention crew. Unauthorized access detected in Cargo Bay 7. Possible breach. All staff, report suspicious activity. Jason turned pale. He looked at the girl, still calm, still watching him with those wild eyes. I'm dead, he whispered. She slowly stood up, walked over to him, and placed her clawed hand over his chest. Not dead, protected. He looked down at her hand. Her claws were sharp, but her touch was gentle. Who are you? he asked softly. She closed her eyes. I am last. I escaped. They hunted me. You opened crate. You saved. Jason looked into her glowing eyes. He didn't understand what just happened. But one thing was clear. He wasn't alone anymore. And whatever this bond was, it was just the beginning. Jason sat on the cold metal floor of his small repair bay, staring at the strange girl. Her wolf ears twitched slightly as she watched him, with those glowing yellow eyes. The quiet hum of the station was the only sound between them. But inside Jason's mind, a storm was brewing. How are you alive? Jason finally asked. She tilted her head, as if surprised by his question. Alien. Different. Strong. Jason rubbed his temples. Okay, but why me? Why say mine? She stepped closer. Bond. Jason blinked. Bond? Like marriage? Her lips curled into a small smile, not quite human, but something soft and almost gentle. Bond deeper, not choice, nature, scent, touch, instinct. Jason's stomach tightened. You mean, I'm stuck with you? Forever. He swallowed hard. Suddenly his body shivered. It wasn't cold. Something inside him was stirring. His ears caught a faint noise, like distant footsteps echoing down the hallway. The girl's eyes narrowed, and she crouched slightly, ready to pounce. Jason's breath hitched. Who's coming? They, she said quietly. Hunters, scientists, want me back, dead or alive? His heart slammed in his chest. Dead or alive? What did you do? She shook her head. No time. Escape. Jason stood up slowly. Escape? Where? From what? Her eyes met his, serious and deep. From death. From cage. From war. Jason wanted to ask more, but his mind was racing too fast. He looked at his watch. A blinking red light indicated security teams were on high alert. They would be here soon. We have to hide you, Jason said. Or I'm done for, she nodded. You help. You safe. Bond protect. Jason frowned. Bond protect? What does that mean? She walked closer and lightly pressed her clawed fingers on his chest right over his heart. A strange warmth spread from her touch like electricity. You mark, she said. Mark means guard. Mark means pain if others touch. Jason stared at her hand, then at his own chest. There was no visible mark, but somehow he could feel it like a pulse beneath his skin. Wait, Jason said, shaking his head. You're saying I'm marked like a target? No, she said firmly. Mark means shield. Others hurt you, hurt me. Jason ran a hand over his face, trying to clear his thoughts. This is crazy. I'm just a mechanic. Not just chosen. Jason didn't know what to say. He looked at her. The alien girl with wolf ears, glowing tattoos, and a wild heart. Suddenly, the door to his repair bay beeped softly. Jason froze. He moved slowly toward the control panel and glanced. At the security feed, 2 guards in heavy armor walked by the hallway outside. They didn't look like ordinary station workers. Their faces were hidden behind black visors. They're searching, Jason whispered. The girl stepped closer to the panel and placed her palm on the screen. The guards suddenly stopped, their heads tilting as if they heard something. Jason gasped. Did you do that? She shrugged. Sense them. Jason's mind raced. This girl wasn't just any alien, she had powers. And now somehow he was linked to her. Listen, Jason said urgently. You can't just walk around here, they'll catch you. She looked at him. I stay. I protect you. Jason shook his head. No. You need to hide somewhere safe. The girl's eyes darkened. No safe place, only you. Jason swallowed. His small repair bay felt too small now, like a cage. But it was the only place he could keep her safe. Suddenly, a soft knocking came from the door. Jason's heart stopped. Who is it? He called, out trying to keep his voice steady. No one. a voice replied, cold and robotic. Jason's hand trembled as he slowly moved to the door. He peeked through the window and saw a shadow, a tall figure moving fast. He grabbed a heavy wrench from the bench and backed away. The door hissed open. In stepped a woman wearing a lab coat, her face sharp and serious. Her eyes scanned the room quickly. "Jason Reed?" she asked. Jason nodded, holding the wrench tight. "I'm Dr. Mira Hahn. I'm here to talk about the missing specimen," she said calmly. Jason's mouth went dry. "I don't know what you mean." Dr. Hahn stepped forward. "We know you opened that crate, the one with the alien girl. You need to come with me." Jason glanced behind him at the girl. She was crouched in the shadows, eyes glowing fiercely. "No," he said, voice shaking. "She's hurt. She's not dangerous." Dr. Hahn smiled coldly. "That's what they all say. But she is dangerous. And if you don't cooperate, you'll be arrested for tampering with classified research." Jason's mind screamed. If he let Dr. Hahn take the girl, what would happen? Suddenly the girl growled, a low, threatening sound that filled the room. Jason froze as she stepped out from the shadows. Her silver tattoos shimmered under the harsh light. Her eyes locked on Dr. Hahn, fierce and wild. "Mira Hahn," she said quietly. "You will leave now." Dr. Hahn's face twitched. "You don't scare me." But before she could move, the girl lunged forward with incredible speed, knocking Dr. Hahn back against the wall. The sound of metal hitting metal echoed through the room. Jason dropped the wrench, stunned. The girl stood between him and Dr. Hahn, breathing heavily. "Go," she said to Jason. "Run." Jason's heart raced. He grabbed her hand, feeling the strange warmth again. "We have to get out," he said. She nodded. Jason looked back at Dr. Hahn, who was slowly getting up, her eyes burning with hate. "Go," the girl growled again. Jason pulled her toward the airlock. Outside, alarms screamed louder. The hunt had begun, and Jason knew there was no turning back. Running from shadows, Jason's heart was pounding as he dragged the alien girl through the narrow corridors of Station Delta 9. The red emergency lights flickered wildly, casting long shadows that danced on the cold metal walls. The alarm screamed, louder with every step they took. He barely understood what was happening. This strange girl, with wolf ears, glowing tattoos, and fierce yellow eyes, was now his burden and his mystery. She had called him mine, said they were bonded. But what did that mean? And what was chasing them? "Where are we going?" Jason whispered, gasping for breath. She glanced back at him, eyes sharp and alert. "Safe place. Old maintenance. Tunnels. Few go there." Jason nodded, trusting her despite the chaos. They turned sharply into a narrow passage, the sound of heavy boots and radio chatter echoing behind them. "Hunters close," she warned. Jason's mind raced. Who were these hunters? Why did they want her dead? Why did she bond with him? Suddenly, a loud bang echoed behind them. The door they had just passed slammed shut. Jason spun around, heart in his throat. "Trapped," he shouted. The girl growled low in her throat, stepping between him and the closed door. Her tail flicked sharply and her ears twitched. Jason looked at her, terrified but strangely comforted by her presence. "We can't stay here," he said, voice shaking. She nodded. "Follow." She led him deeper into the maze of tunnels. The air grew colder and thick with dust. Pipes hissed and leaked steam. Strange symbols were painted on the walls. Old markings no one else noticed. Jason's stomach twisted. This place looked abandoned for years. Suddenly, a faint glow appeared ahead. The girl stopped and raised a finger to her lips. Jason saw two shadows moving in the distance, two armed figures carrying strange weapons that pulsed with blue energy. The girl's eyes narrowed. Hunters. Jason swallowed hard. "What do they want from you?" She looked at him, her voice quiet but fierce. "They want to capture me, study me, control me." Jason felt a chill. "Why? What are you?" She hesitated, then said softly, "A werewolf. But not like stories, different, stronger, from another world." Jason blinked. Another world? Yes. Far away. My people hunted for centuries. I am last of my kind. Jason shook his head, trying to take it all in. Why bond with me? He asked. She reached out, touching his chest again. The warmth spread through his body, steadying his nerves. Bond is survival. You are safe. I protect you. You protect me. Jason looked into her glowing eyes and felt a strange connection, something he couldn't explain. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps grew closer. The hunters were near. The girl grabbed his hand. Run! They sprinted through the tunnels, ducking, behind broken machinery and rusted pipes. Jason's lungs burned, but he pushed harder. Behind them, the hunters shouted orders in a strange language. Jason's mind raced. How did he end up here? Running for his life with an alien werewolf girl who called him mate? Ahead, he saw a heavy metal door with a panel blinking green. Airlock, he gasped. He punched the code he saw on a nearby sign. The door hissed and slid open. They rushed inside. Jason slammed the door shut, locking it tight. The girl collapsed onto the floor, breathing hard. Jason leaned against the wall, heart pounding. What now? She looked up, eyes softening. We rest, then plan. Jason sat beside her. The warmth from her touch still lingered on his chest. He could feel it even when she wasn't touching him. For the first time, fear mixed with something else, a strange hope. Jason had never believed in destiny or magic. But this was something new and dangerous. Suddenly, the door beeped. Jason's eyes snapped open. The control panel flashed red. Hunter's override, the girl said softly. Jason grabbed a nearby wrench. They'll break in, she growled low. No, not here. Suddenly, the airlock's lights flickered and the ventilation system roared. The girl stood, her wolf ears twitching. Jason watched as her tattoos shimmered brighter. She turned to him, voice fierce. Jason, you are bonded. They want me. They want you. They will come. We fight. Jason swallowed hard. Fight? Me? Yes. Bond is power. Jason looked into her eyes and saw fire, wild, fierce, and untamed. He nodded slowly. Okay, then teach me. The girl smiled. A real smile this time. Good. You learn. We survive. Outside, the hunters prepared to break the door. Inside, two unlikely allies prepared for a battle that could change everything. First battle, first blood. The heavy metal door rattled violently as the hunters slammed against it again and again. Jason stood with the alien girl, heart hammering, hands trembling around the wrench he held. Every moment felt like a countdown to disaster. The girl's yellow eyes glowed fiercely, her wolf ears twitching like she was listening to sounds beyond human hearing. Jason, she said quietly but firmly, we don't wait. We fight. Jason swallowed, barely breathing. I don't know how. She stepped closer, her claws extending just a little, sharp and dangerous. Focus. Feel bond. You and me, we are one. Jason looked at her, unsure, but the strength in her voice gave him courage. He nodded. Suddenly, the door gave way. Two hunters stormed in. They were tall, muscular, wearing armor that gleamed under the harsh lights. Their weapons crackled with energy. Jason's heart stopped. One hunter raised his rifle. The girl growled low, a deep, terrifying sound. She lunged forward with lightning speed. Jason barely had time to react as she threw one hunter across the room with a powerful swipe. The man crashed into a wall, groaning. The other hunter fired his weapon. Blue energy bolts streaked through the air toward them. Jason dove to the side, feeling the heat brush past him. The bolt struck the metal wall, leaving a smoking hole. He scrambled up, heart racing. The girl was already moving fast and wild. She dodged the blasts, closing the distance in a blink. Her claws slashed through the air, catching the hunter's arm. He dropped his weapon, screaming. Jason grabbed a broken pipe and swung it at the other hunter, catching him off guard. The man stumbled backward. The fight was chaotic, loud and fast. But the girl's strength and speed were incredible, beyond anything Jason had ever seen. After a brutal struggle, the hunters lay unconscious. Jason breathed heavily, adrenaline rushing. The girl looked at him with a small smile. "You fight well." Jason wiped sweat from his forehead. "You saved me." She crouched down, suddenly serious. "Not saved. Bonded. Your life tied to mine now." Jason's eyes widened. "What does that mean? What happens now?" She reached out and touched his chest again, warmth flowing through him. "You share pain. You share strength. If I hurt, you hurt. If you die." Jason stopped her. "No, we survive. Together." She nodded slowly. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the hallway outside. More hunters were coming. Jason's breath caught. The girl stood, her body tense, ready to fight again. Jason looked at the metal pipe in his hand and then at her. "We run. Find safe place? No time. Fight here." Jason's heart hammered in his chest. He didn't know what would happen next, but he knew this was only the beginning. First battle, first blood. The heavy metal door rattled violently as the hunters slammed against it again and again. Jason stood with the alien girl, heart hammering, hands trembling around the wrench he held. Every moment felt like a countdown to disaster. The girl's yellow eyes glowed fiercely, her wolf ears twitching like she was listening to sounds beyond human hearing. "Jason," she said quietly but firmly, "we don't wait. We fight." Jason swallowed, barely breathing. "I don't know how." She stepped closer, her claws extending just a little, sharp and dangerous. "Focus. Feel bond. You and me, we are one." Jason looked at her, unsure, but the strength in her voice gave him courage. He nodded. Suddenly, the door gave way. Two hunters stormed in. They were tall, muscular, wearing armor that gleamed under the harsh lights. Their weapons crackled with energy. Jason's heart stopped. One hunter raised his rifle. The girl growled low, a deep, terrifying sound. She lunged forward with lightning speed. Jason barely had time to react as she threw one hunter across the room with a powerful swipe. The man crashed into a wall, groaning. The other hunter fired his weapon. Blue energy bolts streaked through the air toward them. Jason dove to the side, feeling the heat brush past him. The bolt struck the metal wall, leaving a smoking hole. He scrambled up, heart racing. The girl was already moving fast and wild. She dodged the blasts, closing the distance in a blink. Her claws slashed through the air, catching the hunter's arm. He dropped his weapon, screaming. Jason grabbed a broken pipe and swung it at the other hunter, catching him off guard. The man stumbled backward. The fight was chaotic, loud and fast, but the girl's strength and speed were incredible, beyond anything Jason had ever seen. After a brutal struggle, the hunters lay unconscious. Jason breathed heavily, adrenaline rushing. The girl looked at him with a small smile. "You fight well." Jason wiped sweat from his forehead. "You saved me." She crouched down, suddenly serious. "Not saved. Bonded. Your life tied to mine now." Jason's eyes widened. "What does that mean? What happens now?" She reached out and touched his chest again, warmth flowing through him. "You share pain. You share strength. If I hurt, you hurt. If you die." Jason stopped her. "No, we survive. Together." She nodded slowly. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the hallway outside. More hunters were coming. Jason's breath caught. The girl stood, her body tense, ready to fight again. Jason looked at the metal pipe in his hand and then at her. "We run. Find safe place? No time. Fight here." Jason's heart hammered. In his chest, he didn't know what would happen next, but he knew this was only the beginning. Jason cut her off. "We survive. Together." Before she could answer, the door exploded inward with a deafening crash. The hunters poured in, their glowing weapons ready. Lyra growled, shifting instantly. Her ears lengthened, her nails sharpened, and silver fur appeared across her arms. Her tattoos flared bright blue. Jason felt the bond surge inside him, energy pulsing through his veins like electricity. He raised his pipe, feeling stronger, faster, like his whole body was awake. The hunters charged. Jason met them head-on, striking with a strength he never knew he had. Every blow was fueled by the bond with Lyra. He dodged and parried, heart pounding but mind clear. Lyra moved like a shadow, fierce and fast, taking down enemies with claws and energy blasts. The fight was brutal and intense, but with the bond, Jason could keep up. Together they were unstoppable. After the last hunter fell, Lyra returned to human form, breathing hard. Jason looked at his hands, amazed. "I did that," Lyra smiled. "Yes, the bond unlocks power. You are not just a mechanic now." Jason's mind spun. He was just an average man, but now, something inside him had changed forever. Suddenly, his communicator beeped, an encrypted message from the station's control. Jason frowned. "They know we're here, more coming." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "We can't run forever. We must find the truth behind this station and stop the hunters. Only then are we free." Jason nodded, determination growing. "Then let's get ready. This fight is far from over." As the emergency lights flickered, two unlikely allies prepared to face a danger bigger than either had imagined, and the bond that tied them was stronger than steel, the hidden truth and dark secrets. The station's corridors were cold and silent except for the soft hum of distant machinery. Jason and Lyra moved cautiously, shadows stretching long beneath the flickering lights. Every step echoed like a warning. Jason's heart pounded in his chest. The bond thrummed inside him, a steady pulse that reminded him he was not alone. He glanced at Lyra, who walked beside him with eyes sharp and alert. "We need to find the control room," Lyra whispered. "If we can access the station's data, we might learn why they captured me, and what they plan next." Jason nodded. "Lead the way." The path was winding, full of locked doors and security checkpoints. Lyra's tattoos glowed faintly, sensing hidden traps. Suddenly, a loud alarm pierced the silence, a red light flashing violently. "Security breach," a robotic voice announced. Jason's stomach dropped. "They're coming." They ducked into a small maintenance shaft. Lyra pressed her hand against the metal wall, focusing. The bond between them tightened, their energies sinking. Jason felt a strange warmth, like a shield around his body. "Stay close," Lyra said, her voice tense. "We have to move fast." They slipped through narrow tunnels and climbed rusty ladders. Jason's muscles ached, but the bond gave him strength. His fear melted into determination. Finally, they reached the control room, its door sealed with a complex lock. Lyra's claws glowed blue as she traced the panel. "Give me a moment." Jason held his breath. After a few tense seconds, the door hissed open. Inside, screens lit up with streams of data, blueprints, bioscans, and files marked Project Lupari. Lyra's eyes narrowed as she scanned the files. "This station is a secret research facility," she said softly. "They captured my people, my clan, and experimented on us. They want to take our powers and use them as weapons." Jason frowned. "That's terrible." Lyra's voice cracked slightly. "Yes, they destroyed my home. I escaped, but they want me back." Jason placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll stop them. Together." As they worked to download the data, the room shook violently. Heavy footsteps thundered outside. The hunters were close. Jason grabbed a nearby metal rod, ready to fight. Lyra's eyes flashed silver. "We can't hold them here." Jason looked around, desperate. Suddenly, a hidden panel slid open, revealing a narrow escape tunnel. Lyra grabbed Jason's hand. "This way." They sprinted down the dark passage as the alarms blared behind them. Jason's breath came in ragged gasps, but the bond pushed him forward. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the tunnel. Lyra stopped, eyes wide. "What is it?" Jason whispered. She growled low, body tense. "Another Lupari, like me, but different, darker." From the shadow stepped a tall figure, a werewolf but covered in black tattoos that pulsed with ominous red light. His eyes burned like fire. "Lyra," the stranger said, voice cold. "You shouldn't have come back." Jason gripped Lyra's hand tighter, feeling the bond's power surge wildly. The dark werewolf snarled, claws extended. "Get ready," Lyra said, voice fierce. "This fight is far from over." Jason's heart raced as the two alien wolves faced off, light against dark, bond against shadow. And somewhere deep inside, Jason knew the true battle was only beginning. The narrow tunnel seemed to close in around them, the air thick with tension. Jason's heart pounded wildly in his chest as the dark werewolf stepped forward, his black tattoos glowing like embers in the dim light. Lyra's yellow eyes blazed, matching the fiery stare of her opponent. "Karen," she hissed, voice sharp, with anger and pain. "Why are you here? Why hunt your own?" Karen smirked, a cruel twist curling his lips. "Because you betrayed our clan, Lyra. You ran away. You left us to be captured. Now you will pay." Jason's grip tightened around the metal rod, feeling the bond pulse with raw power. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was part of something greater, linked by blood, by energy, by trust. "Karen, stop this madness," Lyra pleaded, stepping forward. "We need to unite, not fight. The hunters want us all dead." But Karen's eyes burned with hatred. "The weak deserve to fall. Only the strongest survive." With a growl, he lunged forward, claws slashing through the air. Lyra met him head-on, their bodies crashing together in a blur of fur and flashing energy. The clash echoed like thunder, sparks flying from their glowing tattoos. Jason dodged a swipe and charged, swinging the metal rod with all his might. The bond with Lyra gave him strength beyond his limits. The rod connected with Karen's arm, and the dark werewolf snarled in pain, but Karen was fierce. He recovered quickly, his red tattoos flaring brighter. He struck back with a powerful blast of energy that sent Jason crashing into the tunnel wall. Pain shot through Jason's body, but the bond flared fiercely, healing him faster than he thought possible. Lyra growled, gathering her strength. "Jason, focus the bond. Together we can end this." Jason nodded, closing his eyes and reaching deep inside. The warmth of the bond spread through him like wildfire. His muscles tensed, his senses sharpened. He rose, standing beside Lyra, ready. "Karen, this ends now," Lyra shouted. The two wolves charged again, but this time Jason was ready. The bond between them created a shield of shimmering energy that blocked Karen's attacks. Jason swung his rod with newfound power, striking Karen's chest. The dark tattoos flickered and cracked. Karen stumbled, fury and fear flashing in his eyes. Lyra leapt, pinning him to the ground. "You lost, Karen. It's time to stop this." Suddenly, the tunnel walls began to shake violently. A deep rumble filled the air. "The station is collapsing," Jason shouted. "We have to get out." Lyra hesitated, looking at Karen. "If we leave him, he will come after us." Jason grabbed her hand. "We can't save everyone. We survive first." With a final glare, Lyra nodded. "Let's go." They sprinted through the collapsing tunnels, debris falling around them. Jason's heart raced as the bond surged, guiding them through the chaos. Finally, they burst out into open space, the station exploding behind them in a fiery blast. Jason and Lyra floated in the silence of the void, their bond stronger than ever. "We did it," Jason whispered, awe in his voice. Lyra smiled, her wolf ears twitching. "No, this is just the beginning. Together we are unstoppable." Jason looked at her, knowing his life had changed forever. The alien werewolf girl was not just his protector. She was marking him as hers, forever bound by power, trust, and something deeper. And somewhere far away, new dangers waited. But now Jason was ready, because he was no longer just a mechanic in deep space. He was a warrior, and this was their story.